Ah, my main man, Jean-Paul Marat. It's as if Alex Jones and Maxine Waters had a child. You take that Democrat energy, which says that when you see MAGA people, you form a crowd and you push them back, and you add a little bit of that Alex Jones conspiracy where traitors are everywhere, and you take that love child and you get Hassan Piker to raise it, and you dial to 11, and that's who Jean-Paul Marat was. The man was the embodiment of hate speech. Like, he had absolutely no chill. There would be no terms of service in the world that he wouldn't violate. You need to understand, this gentleman was writing for a newspaper called L'Ami du People, and it was extremely popular with the far-left Jacobins. And he had, as I mentioned, no filter. Like, he would ask for mobs of people to lynch, to behead, to spill the blood for the French Revolution. The man was so intense that it would make Hassan Piker look like a moderate. In a way, though, I don't really blame him because he had a skin condition. And so his skin was itching incredibly hard. He was in a lot of pain, constant pain. He had to stay submerged most of his day inside the medicinal bathtub. And you can imagine what that does to the skin of a person, to be in water nonstop. And so usually when people are in pain, they're a lot more angry and agitated. Now, the guy was already a far less extremist before he got in the bathtub, so the problem was already there, but I think like the skin condition made it worse. And so you can imagine the level of absolute deranged hatred that he had in his rants whenever he would write for L'Ami du People. And the problem is, like, this wasn't just any journalist. He was kind of like the voice of the revolution. The Jacobin clubs would read his articles religiously. The people that he would name there would often get targeted. They would either mysteriously get investigated and then guillotined immediately after, or lynched by the mob. And so if you wonder what type of people he targeted, if you answered the aristocracy, you would actually be incorrect. Sure, he didn't like the aristocracy as any self-respecting revolutionary, but his main hate boner was actually the centrists. Now, at the time in 1800 Paris, the word centrist didn't actually exist in the people's vocabulary, and so he used words like cowards, leeches, traitors, tyrants, moderates, or oftentimes aristocrats in disguise. He saw political moderation during the revolution as both tactical sabotage and moral cowardice. And so people that would say maybe we should guillotine a little bit less, maybe we shouldn't guillotine Catholic nuns, he saw those people as either incredibly stupid or actively sabotaging the revolution in order to try to preserve aristocratic power. He said that the most dangerous enemies of liberty are the moderates because they clothe themselves in its language while actively trying to corrupt it. He said that the aristocrat speaks his hatred openly, while the moderate assassin strikes smiling, speaking of peace, while preparing the chains. We shall not be free until the last of the moderate is strangled with the entails of the last priest. Again, you kind of get to see the level of hate speech that was going on in his publication. And politically, his main beef was with the Jourdains. I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly. They're the moderates, the central liberal bloc of the National Convention. And he would say that they speak of liberty, but fear every necessary measure. They prefer decorum to virtue, delay to justice, and will let the people starve rather than inconvenience a tyrant. In peace, moderation is wisdom. In revolution, moderation is a crime. And so you can imagine that he created a parasocial relationship with his readers and even got a stalker. The stalker went by the name of Charlotte Corday. The full name was Marie-Anne Charlotte Corday, a member from a minor aristocrat family. Now, she didn't really like Marat because she blamed him for escalating the terror and the purges. His newspaper, La Media People, actively demanded the execution of traitors. And this is a man that saw traitors literally everywhere. Like, if he was in the room with you right now, he would say that the traitors are in the walls. She believed that the Jourdan, the centrists, were destroyed because of him. The Jourdans were driven from power and many arrested and executed, as we talked before. And Corday internalized the narrative that Marat's agitation directly caused this. She thought that removing him would actually de-escalate violence and assassinating him would be a heroic, a preventing act. Her famous quote, "Kill one man to save 100,000. She also thought about the Roman Empire a lot. And she really liked the assassination of Julius Caesar. She liked the way that Romans assassinate their tyrants. And so she planned an assassination against Marat and not against the Committee of Public Safety, because even though Robespierre and his committee had more institutional authority, she saw Marat as the voice that animated the mob violence against the centrists. And so she managed to get an interview with Marat, claiming that she has knowledge of where other Jourdans are hiding. Of course, Marat couldn't resist and allowed her in. Historians depict that he was actually in his bathtub when it happened. She gave him a couple of names, and as he was writing them down, she pulled a butcher knife from within her dress and then went stab-a-stab at him. Interestingly enough, she didn't try to run, didn't try to hide what she has done. When the guards came in, she said, "Yeah, I did it, so what?" They arrested her, they took her to the Revolutionary Tribunal, where she had the energy of, "Yes, I did it, I would do it again, how about you all go fuck yourselves?" And so she was taken to the guillotine after a summary trial and executed. Now, historians would actually give her a slow clap after the French Revolution has fallen and you have the Thermidorians in power. But in 1793, people were not impressed. While she did expect a violence to decline, the Jacobins were enraged and the repressions actually intensified. If she expected Marat's memory to fade, it ended up with him becoming a martyr and statues of him being erected. And I think like even now there are statues in France where he's in a bathtub. The thing is, after Robespierre and the Committee of Public Safety fell, most of these statues were actually destroyed and people started spitting on Marat. The main reason being that he was actually being sanctified, I guess, to like George Floyd levels of public worship. And people didn't really like that when the whole 40,000 heads fell to the ground and the revolution finally ended. And they went like, wait, who is this guy again? Yeah, no. Who was that chick? What was her name? Yeah, let's write a couple of chronicles and songs about her.
In the shadows of a saint he sits alone, skin like marble, veins like stone. A quill dipped in venom writes its plea to the heart of a fractured destiny. Whisper to the paper, whisper to the night, Marat's rage bleeds black and white. All centrist cowards caught in the fray, you dance in circles as kingdoms decay. Your silence is louder than any decree. You straddle the line while the world bleeds free. From the bath where his body finds its rest, he pens his war against the middle's nest. No fire, no passion, just